Talking Junk Network,
where entertainment lives.
And I was muted. It happens. It comes with the territory. Welcome, everybody, to this special edition on a Sunday. I never usually go live on a Sunday, but like I said, it's a special edition. We're here representing Aces Matter, the Reach Your Residency program. So we're going to call this Sunday the Reach Your Residency Roundtable. I got a bunch of great professionals here for you. So we're just going to let them come on and give you a rundown of who they are, why they are joining the Reach Your Residency program, and what are their dreams and aspirations for the future. So without further ado, let's bring everybody on and have everybody introduce themselves. How's everybody doing tonight? Well, today. See, I'm used to doing these things at night. Hey, Cindy. No, hey, it's all good. We're here live right now on YouTube. I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. You had all the links, and hold on, let me put you on speaker so they can hear you. Now they can hear you. Hello?
I was just saying hi, y'all. I didn't know y'all were meeting. This is hi. Now they can hear you. Hi, y'all. Hi. Can they hear me?
They can hear you.
That is too cool. Okay, thank you. Y'all have fun. Okay, have fun. Oh my goodness, how creative. Have fun.
All right, we'll see you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right. Miss A Minute with She. Won't you introduce yourself to us and let us know who you are, why you're here, and what are your dreams and aspirations for the future? Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
Sure thing. You can hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you. My name is Shaquila Roberts, founder of Determinal, also executive director of Meditate with She. My A score is a 9, and I decided to become a reacher with Aces Matter because I work in the community. My targeted audience is children and elderly, and the leadership needs a little bit of improvement. And so I thought it would be a great idea to introduce Aces Matter while meditating with them, since that is a solution. So that's why I'm here, bridging that gap. Children, elderly, once an adult, twice a child. That's my lane. And it's my pleasure to be amongst you all today.
The pleasure is all ours. Caleb, how you doing? Won't you introduce yourself to us? Let us know the whole rundown.
Awesome. My name is Caleb Hilton. My background actually is more towards IT, recruiting, and finance. So my project, I actually founded a community called Exponential Season. This stands for CZN, or Changes Now. And essentially, I want to help people within the intersectionality of where financial literacy or financial education, mental health, and affordable housing all cross. My A score is an 8. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to get involved with this was that prior to this year, I never knew about what an ACE was. You know, I thought ACE was just Ace in the Test or Ace Hardware Store. But now that I know more about adverse childhood experiences and how they've impacted me personally, I just want to take the opportunity to share it with everybody, because I feel like there's so many of us that have been impacted by this, but we really don't know what to call it or how it's still playing on us from our childhood until now in adulthood.
Okay. Thank you. Miss Ruby.
Same thing. Hi. Hi, my name's Ruby. I met Cindy randomly, and I've been researching about trauma and different things related to that. And so I called her just to talk because I wanted someone to talk to who I could use some of the language that I had been reading and learning about and talking about things with somebody who was excited to talk about that. And when we had a really great conversation, and she was like, yeah, really understood, what I was saying, and said, yeah, hey, I've got this nonprofit and we're doing this thing. You want to be a part of this? And I said, yes, of course. That sounds awesome. So I'm really excited to be a part of this. My dreams, I really, want to do something that can incorporate just being able to still be there for my kids and be able to give back to the community. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that is. My ACEs score, I can't remember exactly what it is. It's not as high as a lot of other people, but I think it's like 4 or 5 or something like that. So that's it.
Okay, thank you, Ruby. Hey, how you doing?
Hello, can everyone hear me?
We can hear you.
Hi, my name is Waitosha McMillan. I just joined ACES, an account of Miss Cindy. We met at a
Little bit of a connection problem. She froze up on us. All right, well, Mr. Bumpus, are you with us?
Man, barely. Can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay. Hi, my name is Clarence K Bumpus. I'm a therapist down in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Oh, you could go ahead.
You sure?
Yep.
So, dang, I forgot what. Can you give it to me one more time, Jason? I'm sorry. I'm all over the place.
No, it's not a problem. Just introduce yourself to us. Let us know why you joined ACES and what are your dreams and aspirations for the future.
Oh, yeah. So my name is Clarence K Bumpus. I go by CK every now and then. Therapist by trade and by education. I joined the ACES Reachers program to basically just spread the word and normalize some of the communication that has just constantly been happening, and do my part in destigmatizing the barriers around mental health and some of that negative stuff. What I'm hoping to get out of this is actually just to hold just regular conversations and normalize like the topics of adverse childhood experiences and kind of have barbershop talk, but all the time. You know what I mean? Just make it normalized and to celebrate that special kind of space that needs to be held.
Right. Thank you. I guess I'll be last because there's nobody else here. I'm Jason Melendez. My score is an 8. My ACES score is an 8. I joined the ACES program after meeting Cindy because it's a great way not only to gain insight for yourself, but you're gaining insight for others as well. And I do have a platform, and I'm hoping to educate the masses with my knowledge of ACES, so that way we can try to break these generational curses. I hope to try to gain more with the youth than I will with adults, hopefully. Welcome back. You're muted. Can you hear us? Oh, all right. We'll get that. We'll get that straightened out, hopefully. We do have 2 tasks as reachers starting right now. Starting now, the tasks are moving. So the 2 that we have now were to watch 15 minutes of the first 15 minutes of a documentary, and to try to make an understanding of the Reacher's Handbook. So YouTube, don't try to flag me for copyright purposes. I do not own the rights to this documentary. We're using the first 15 minutes of this documentary for educational purposes only. Yeah, don't flag me. I just got out of YouTube jail. So let me see if I can get this on screen. This documentary is called Healing Neen.
I'm about to go back into the Maryland Correctional Institution for Women to do a presentation for the inmates here. Just 4 years ago, I was an inmate here. It's good to be on this side. It's good to be on this side.
I heard about Tonia through the different partners that we have in the community. Her name is out there. She's known by a lot of people for the positive work that she's doing. And you wonder, how could someone be so happy and jovial and have gone through all of the trauma that she's gone through in her life?
Hello. Okay, so this is B building. This is the very last housing unit that I was in. Just 4 years ago, this is my home. In 1989, I remember the first time I was here, I went through the jail system, thefts, prostitution, possession of CDS, possession of open container. I'm coming into work at the National Association of State Mental Health Program Directors. My mother had a way of, when she hit you, she would hit you with a belt, and she would hold the strap of the belt so the buckles would hit you, and she would hit you in your face and your head with it. So we often got a lot of scars from the belt buckle.
And this is my mother's birthday.
This was in 94. At this point, I was homeless, sleeping beneath a bridge, eating out of a trash can. I couldn't go in anybody's house, including my mother's. He brought me down here to get high with it. He said, you know, you don't sleep in the bus stops no more. A lot of times I was beaten. These 2 houses were crack houses. Crunch down here and take a hit of crack right here. It's a very secure building. And this is my office. I have an office. I have scars. I have a scar right there. Right here I have, you can't really tell, 2 black eyes and a busted lip. Thank you for receiving us here in El Paso. My name is Tonia Kane. I was molested. I was raped. I was beaten, I was raped, and I was like, this is how it's supposed to be for me. I am nothing, I'm never gonna amount to anything, and this is how it is. And I'll stay here, I'll die just like this. And I had become comfortable with that. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Kane here to MCIW. Good evening, ladies, and thank you so much for coming out and spending a little time with me tonight. I'm so thrilled to be here, to be able to stand in front of you beautiful, wonderful women and just help you to understand that it's all about you. So I'm telling you, I'm standing before you with 83 arrests and 66 convictions. They said I was going to spend the rest of my life in jail or die in the streets. And I tell you today, not so. Not so. And, you know, I end up with the drug addiction of 19 years. But you know what, I don't have to tell you about what it is that goes along with drug addiction, do I? I really don't. But what I want to tell you that it wasn't using drugs that was the problem. It was what happened to me as a child. My mother would entertain a lot of different men. She would be partying and you would hear her singing and, you know, laughing. But when the music stopped, I knew I was going to start hearing the footsteps come towards our bedroom door. And at age 9, I positioned myself in front of the bedroom door to protect my brothers and sisters, but in the event, it made me available to the men. I brushed my teeth because I thought maybe I could brush away the smell of the men when they did the acts to my mouth. My mother's an alcoholic. She's always been an alcoholic, and sometimes she would leave the household 2 and 3 days at a time. Well, finally at age 11, somebody thought that something was truly wrong in our household. Because we were always looking out the windows, but we weren't allowed to play. My mother wouldn't allow us outside because she did not want anyone to know what was going on in that apartment. Well, somebody thought that was wrong, and they called the Department of Social Services. And when social service came into the household and seen the conditions we were living in, they immediately removed us from that household and put us into foster care. Well, we ended up going to court. And I remember the court day. I was excited because I was seeing my brothers and sisters. And we were on a pew. And in the front, my mother was there. She was crying. She was real upset. And sitting beside her, y'all, I don't know where they found him at, was my father. He was sitting there. Not to say I'm going to take my kids home with me, but to give reasons why he wasn't. So 9 family members was allowed to choose each and every one of them. And I ended up with my cousin. And she was a nurturing and good person. This is my cousin. She's actually my second cousin, but when I was growing up, I always thought she was my aunt because the older generation was like aunts. But when I came into your household and you guys gave me so much love and you showed me how to take care of myself, and it was good time because I was getting up there in age, and because I never knew how to wash myself or wipe myself. Barbara didn't teach me that. So you taught me all of that. I remember you being in the bathroom with me, showing me how to take care of my hygiene because I didn't know. And talking to me, patiently talking to me. I wasn't used to being like a normal kid because the living situation I came out of. My mother came to the household where I was living, and she called me, Neen. That's what my mother calls me. So I ran downstairs and I opened up the door and I ran and she hugged me and she said, I love you. I want you to come back and live with me. She told me she loved me, the words that I've been dying to hear from her.
I was crying because I knew I was going to miss you, but I was crying as you was going toward where you were going to stay and going back home to your mother. And I just kept praying on the inside that everything was going to be okay.
Within a week, she severely beat me in the middle of the street for trying to go to school. By then, she had 3 more kids. I realized she wanted a babysitter. She didn't want me back because she loved me. That's my mother over there in the white. I know, I'm just saying.
I know you know though. That counts.
I desperately need my mother to love me. Sometimes I would be tired and don't want to get high, but she would want to get high, so I would go out and prostitute so she could get high, just so she could love me. I thought that I had to earn her love. And I thought if I go out and prostitute for the drugs, she'll be proud of me. And she would use the drugs and get mad because there's no more. But that's how I always ended up with her. How much? How much you need?
$100.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you.
I know what you're going to get.
A big one. This time will be going, because I'm going out like.
Well, I didn't know how to live without my mother because I knew I couldn't live with her. So I remember taking an overdose. I remember waking up in the emergency room. I remember when nobody asked me, what happened to you? I remember them telling me, you're going back home with your mother, and being terrified. So she came up with this great idea that one of her drinking buddies who thought I was cute, he was 24, I was a child basically, wanted to marry me. What was that? An opportunity to make my mother proud of me once again. I jumped on it. I'm walking down the aisle. She signed the papers. I didn't even have to be there because I was a minor. So I'm married. I'm married and my mother's living with me, and my husband would come home and he would do like this. And if it was dust on his finger, he wanted to know what was I doing all day long that I could not dust his house. Well, there was many beatings because I didn't dust his house. Age 19, somebody came to me and said, try this. And it was crack cocaine. I ain't get no beatings for dusting the house no more, because after one hit of crack, I cleaned my house. I went upstairs, cleaned the neighbor's house. I was outside washing everybody's cars. Shoot, I ain't get that beating no more. But you know what? Using crack cocaine introduced me to the criminal justice system.
Yes.
I love you. I'm gonna go over here because they want to meet.
Hi, sweetie. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. And I lost 5 children to the system, but this time, she was triggered. I was wondering, is it possible she could be in a group tomorrow just to...
Yeah, absolutely. Did you just...
So you ladies was chosen because we think that your story, you collaborating with my story and sitting here and just doing this focus group, just talking about where you've been, you know, and how things feel for you now and where you want to go.
My parents were heroin addicts. In the county where I'm from, there was heroin addiction. Foster care systems, psychiatric facilities. I went through all of that.
I never told my mother that my brother used to molest me. This is the first time I'm telling it now.
Well, my mother not just getting high, her friends get high. You know, people on her job get high. I mean, they get together and have party and get high.
My father would beat my mother all the time, so I saw that. And I ended up going through it myself. Every relationship I've ever had has been abusive. And if they're not abusive towards me, I'll be abusive towards them because I feel that's how they show me love. They don't care about me if they don't put their hands on me when I do something to hurt them.
My mother sacrificed me for the sake of keeping a man. And my first time being molested, I was 4 years old. My mother took my hand and gave it to him and told me, "You're going with him to play with his nieces." But when we got to where we was going, wasn't nobody there but me and him. And I remember it being really, really dark. But when I came back, I felt different. And I remember looking at my mother and it seemed like she didn't see anything wrong. And I remember when she took me in a room that night to put me to bed, I wonder why she didn't notice I didn't have on the same panties. Even now, I'm 37 years old, and I sleep with the covers tucked under me for security.
80% of our population has been traumatized. The trauma is the underlying reason and the basis that leads to the self-medication, the drug use, and then eventually landing in jail.
But I didn't know how not to come back. I didn't know how to stay clean. And something inside of me I didn't have the motivation to want to be sober. Because I went back to my reality. Homelessness, putting myself in harm's way, staying with people that was going to beat me and hurt me and stuff. I'm like, you know, so it was easy to just drink and drug. And unfortunately, it landed me right back here really quick.
I spent many, many years working in the state mental health system. I mean, I started volunteering when I was a kid, 14 years old, in the state hospitals. So I spent close to 15 years at the maximum security hospital at Clifton T. Perkins. And then I went on in the state of Maryland to be director for special populations, where I had the responsibility for services to people who were incarcerated, people who were homeless, people who had substance use issues. I've kind of done everything from the clinical work to the administrative work to now looking at promoting what my passion is, trauma-informed care and the understanding of trauma in the lives of those that we serve. Up to 90% of individuals who are in the public mental health system have been victims of trauma. About 85% we know from Department of Justice of girls in the juvenile justice systems have been the victims of early physical or sexual abuse. About 97% of homeless women who have mental health issues have been the victims of trauma while they were on the streets. 87% have been the victims of early childhood abuse. Over 50% of women in substance use programs report histories of incest. I mean, it's just universal.
And so this is the ACE study, matching in this very middle-class population. The population is exactly half women, half men by chance. 80% white, including Hispanic, 10% Black, 10% Asian, 74% have been to college. In no way is this some dismissible group, that, yeah, well, maybe those people across town, et cetera. This is basically you and me. And what we found was extraordinary. A, the prevalence of these 10 categories, and B, the remarkable effect that they had 50 years later. 28% of the women have a history of childhood sexual abuse. I mean, who the hell would know that? In terms of injection drug use, a person exposed to any four of those categories was 1,350% more likely to become an injection drug user at some point later in life. If you go to ACE score 6, exposure to any 6 of those categories, you're wildly off the scale, because now it's a 4,600% increase in the likelihood that an ACE score 6 individual will become an injection drug user as compared to an ACE score 0 individual. I mean, the epidemiologists of the CDC told me, look, these are numbers that we see once in a lifetime as an epidemiologist, once in a career. So the numbers are of extraordinary magnitude.
Wow. That's a powerful 15 minutes. Oh, let me take this off. It's still playing in my ear. All right. So what I guess we could go one by one real quick and say what we took away from it. I got Clarence right here on the phone because he's having a hard time connecting. So I'll let him go first. I'll put him up here by the mic. Clarence, can you hear us? Well, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Whenever you're
Can
ready.
you guys still hear me?
Yeah, yep, we can hear you. I got you pressed right against the mic. They won't be able to hear you until I put the phone to my headphones. I mean, you won't be able to hear them until I put my phone to the headphones, but they can hear you. If you could tell us your takeaway from the first 15 minutes of the Healing Neen documentary.
I think it's one of those things that lets you know that it begins early on, and a lot of stuff that we normalize, right?
You muted yourself.
Right, with that young lady who's like constantly pressing for mom's love and willing to pretty much like give herself to depletion. She's one of the fortunate ones, like a lot of us on this call, who were able to redirect some of that adverse power. But I do think it's wild to see that most individuals of color, hold on, baby. Most individuals of color don't even get most of the help that is needed until we are incarcerated or it's too late, if that makes any sense. And I thought that was a pretty deep depiction of that very thing. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
No worries. Parent life, we understand. All right. Ruby, you want to give us your takeaway?
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess the parent life part of it is how important and the key element of that she had someone take an interest in her and give her that love and that care, even though it was for just a short period of time. How significant and how important that is, and how much of a difference that made. I feel like probably to her ability, to love herself, because, she had a period of time when she was shown love. So I think that was really cool. I was impressed by her candor, I suppose, and her like ability to just kind of be like, yeah. I mean, I watched the whole documentary too, so just the way she's able to talk about a lot of that stuff and be able to use her experiences, to try to help other people was pretty amazing. And the so important, that connection, and how she's able to connect with people who believed in her and wanted her to succeed and to help her to heal from that was pretty inspiring.
Right. I have TJ here now, also on the phone. TJ, would you like to give us your rundown on the first 15 minutes of the Healing Neen documentary?
Of course.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. Can everyone hear me, or
Yep,
just
everyone can hear you.
All right. Awesome. I'm glad I'm back, everyone. Sorry about that connection issue. But my intake on the documentary is it was very informative and inspirational towards the whole audience and society, to how she overcame her objectives by believing in who she is and wanting better for herself. And that is something we as ACEs Matter can have the opportunity to do as well. She inspired me to just be bold inside of my own tragedies and what transpired within my life. And as I seen her talking to inmates and coaching her, and then how she transpired or transferred over to her family, it was a spiritual thing in that sense, to how I can see that she stood out from her family. I can see that everyone inside her family, it was more like a generational curse that was upon her family, where it went to drinking and drugs, and how bad things are continuing to happening inside of her timeline. And also, she didn't want that for her children. So in a sense, it was like it was saddening her heart to have her kids taken away because of that tragedy. And now she's doing everything she can now within her power to get her kids back and to speak about her issues and how she grew inside of the world. So to me, that was very prolific and inspirational documentary to see her inside of society now.
And while we got you, before anything else happens, since you weren't able to give us let us know your introduction and why you were in the Reacher program and what your dreams and aspirations are, while I got you here.
Okay, no problem. Well, my name is Waitosha McMillan. I'm formerly known as PJ. And I'm currently inside of Valencia College receiving my BAS in Business Management and Leadership and Organizationship Skills, which will go hand in hand with my long-term dreams of going full force inside of my nonprofit organization, where we will create diversion programs for youth and troubled teens, but also create programs to input inside of the prison system to help individuals to further assist them on their long life goals while they get reintegrated inside of society. So that's my long time goal, and to also travel the world speaking about experiences that that I have had, giving motivation, inspiration, and getting together with the masses of people to formulate a great foundation or a safe haven for individuals to talk and speak about their tragedies and their adverse childhood adversities, like I have done or been through. Me personally, the reason why I'm a reacher and I am here is because I would soulfully love to counsel others on how to become better dealing with their adverse childhood experiences. Because we as society, or we growing up inside of our teenage, I didn't have resources. I didn't know the connections of what I have now. I didn't know that I could have gotten help, or even I could have spoke to someone about the things that I was going through. But I didn't have that. I didn't have that group or that surrounding. So it led me to Cindy. It led me to Cindy. Like I said, at a community. I forgot what the event was called, but it led me there. And while I was introducing myself again, she was like, "You would be perfect for my program." And I was like, "Okay, let's go ahead. I'm right for it. I want to plant a seed and see how it can help a lot of other people grow, just like I have grown out of adversities, experiences." And the statement, I'm here to create a platform, and I'm here for youth, young teens, juveniles, young adults to go to get social economics, resume building, connections, entrepreneurship skills, science hands-on workshops, even meditation, even spiritual, even creating candidates for employers to further assist them on their long-term goals. So that's why I'm here, and that's what platform I would love to create, and I am building currently. And I love to be here with you all while we grow. And that's a little about me.
Great. Well, we can't wait to see that platform take shape. All right, let me put this phone up here so you can hear. All right. I think they can hear you here on the phone. Whenever you're ready, my dear.
Oh, it's me?
Shaquilla, it's you.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll try to make it quick.
Can you hear her, TJ?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. The documentary for me, so quick version is when I started my 501c3 determining now bridging the gap between communities and educational systems. I said to myself, I had my mental health license for the state, and I was like, this mental part not for me. So I let it expire, right? Only to go into the emotional side. And so it's funny that this past weekend I was at the FRRC, which is the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with it, but it's re-entering individuals, right? So I showed up Friday. I said, hey, I'm here to advocate for the children and the grandparents that y'all leave behind when y'all go, when you get incarcerated. And so I end up spending this entire weekend all the way till 1 o'clock, because we had a 1:30 meeting, meditating with re-entering individuals. And that documentary it's just a full circle for me, because I say intergenerational. I had the children, I have the grandmas, and this weekend I dealt with the re-entering individuals. And I'm not gonna cry. It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, that's all I have to say, because I don't want to cry.
Okay.
But
We don't want you to cry live either. We got you.
All right.
Caleb.
For myself, I think one of the major things was seeing the relationship between her and her mother, and how it's not even just her mother and her father. You know, she had an opportunity to see both of her parents essentially not want her. And even when she thought her mother wanted her, it was the fact that her mother wanted her to do something for her versus the fact that she wanted her as her daughter. And I think, the first time I saw that, it kind of made me tear up a little bit, because of how she was explaining how, the belt buckle on the face and the scarring and just all of the different times that she was incarcerated. It wasn't just that she was incarcerated. It was like, if you looked at the physical damage that she went through, how people beat her up, or she was beaten up or abused, or, just atrocities, just terrible things. And throughout it all, it's interesting that she has the resilience to come out of that and still have a positive attitude to want to help other people who are either in a similar situation or have been through the same situation come out of that. And I think for me, it was just understanding that the present conditions they only limit you if you allow that circumstance to define your reality. She was the kind of person that, if you notice, she's so well integrated with her past that she was able to joke about, oh, I used to come here and, get high real quick. But it's the fact that, like, now that she owns her truth, that she knows her worth, and no one can take that from her. But that's something that throughout her youth she struggled with, that appeal. And I think that when you see somebody else's story like that, it kind of makes you wonder about, the situations where you might have sacrificed yourself, your own integrity, for the sake of trying to get that love from a parent or somebody that you wanted that love from. And I think that for me, it's just kind of coming back to that conversation of, we really need to, start. It's not just the kids, it's the parents before the kids are even born that we kind of also need to focus on as well, because it's like making certain that they're prepared for the experience of being a parent. I think that sometimes it's just, it happens for people, and then it's at that point where they realize, oh crap, I have a whole kid and I need to figure it out. And if they haven't dealt with themselves, you're essentially hurt people, and it's the fact that now it becomes a generational curse. Because in my opinion, generational curses are just generational poor decisions. If you don't know better, you can't do better. But at the point that you can do better, now you can heal that, and it stops with them. And I think that her story is an example of how she's making certain that this cycle is not continued to the next generation, that she can do something about that now. And that was really inspiring for me.
Right. Thank you. I'm just going to bounce off of what you said, Caleb. When you are used to something being done to you as a child, like having your love be conditional, it takes effect when you grow into adulthood. And it takes effect to the relationships that you bring into your life, and it takes into effect how you treat those relationships also. Because now you're thinking that you have to do things in order for you to be loved. There's certain things that you have to uphold in order to get those feelings reciprocated. And it shouldn't be like that. Love should be unconditional. There shouldn't be any doubt in anybody's mind if somebody loves them, whether they're doing things that they want them to do or not. You know what I mean? You should always let your children know, I'm here for you. You're not here for me. I have to be here for you. I have to show you the right way. I have to teach you these things. I may not always do it right, because this is how I was taught. This is how I was brought up. And it's not an excuse. It's more of a coming to the realization that you need to get over these things in order to teach your child the right way. So that's my takeaway from this. She learned that, well, she thought that the love that she was getting was conditional. She had to do these things in order to feel loved by her mother or her father or her significant other at the time. And it ultimately led her down a road of drugs and alcohol and ultimately being incarcerated. So these things are, it's like shit rolls downhill. So once the shit starts, it just picks up traction and all the shit along the way, and it's a total mess once it gets down. So that's my takeaway from it.
Jay, I'd like to second that. That was beautifully put.
Thank you.
I think what we're speaking to are those generational cycles that are perpetuated unconsciously, right, or subconsciously. And I think it's beautiful, like that, just how you said, right, we kind of got to be the ones to take the step, right, and acknowledge that there was a problem, and that the things that we normalize, like Caleb was talking about, are not so normal, man, right? And the sooner we recognize that, the sooner we can start building plans at disrupting those cycles and actually doing some healing like that sister is doing in the video.
Right.
Ow.
Right, and you're not always, as a parent, gonna do it the right way, and it's you're only human, you know what I mean? And not just as a parent, as a person, as an individual, you're not always going to face a problem the way you should. We're not built that way. We're built to make mistakes and to learn from them. That's why a lot of this cancel culture I can kind of agree with, but I don't agree with all of it, because people are meant to learn from their mistakes. If you're going to shun somebody out with the first mistake that they make, how are they supposed to rely on society? There's no way that they can. They can't reform that way.
They can't. You're right. It's definitely like a growth debilitator, right? Like it stops people in their process because, hey, if I'm not genuinely accepted for being me, then there is no point in trying to be me. So I'll just be what everybody else wants me to be.
Right.
Right.
Right. Absolutely.
And a lot of the re-entry individuals I spoke with this weekend, a lot of them stated repeatedly, like, now we're going back into society, but we have no rights. Like, it's hard to find a job. So now I go back to what I know because I still have to survive. I want to reconnect with my children or whatever. And it's just like, we have to actually do the work. We doing the work, but I'm just saying, like, do the work to get them prepared to re-enter into society, because the aces are still there. They were there long ago. They still there now. They live with them. They've been incarcerated with them. They're getting out with them, and so this is where we step in.
Right. And that goes for everything too, not just incarceration, with drug abuse also. It goes hand in hand.
Oh yeah, all of it. I was just saying about the documentary, but yeah, all of it.
95% of people relapse into crime or into drugs or into the life they had before because they don't know where to go. They don't have that helping hand to show them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where like the community and the connection, the ACEs is like the connection is what we're trying to go for, is helping everyone have the connection. Same thing with parents and kids and all that kind of stuff. So.
All right, and we're all here on this Sunday with our kids running around yelling in the background. So we all hear it. We're here. We're trying to make those differences, but we're only human. How many of you yelled at your kids this week? Because I know I have. I yelled at them before I came on camera.
Yes, right.
Yeah, I don't have kids, but I definitely had a goddaughter this weekend, and she was giving me a run for my money.
Right. They usually do. They are here to test us.
It's their job.
Yes. Our patience, our faith, our strength. Kids will test us to the fullest, and that's where we like everyone was saying, we are not perfect, and there's not a cornerstone to be a parent. There's not no law. There's not no real
handbook.
Bible to say, yeah, there's no specific way to, this is how you got to parent. This is the way you got to do it. No, because everyone is different. Everybody have their own moral beliefs to how they want to raise their children, which is how everyone grew up in different environments, living in a different way. And there's not no two kinds of person. Everybody is their own person, even children. You can put a group of different races, ethnicity, backgrounds of children together, and they will all stand out differently. That's what I love. That's why I love kids so much, is because they don't know what this world holds yet. So they are pure in their most youthful lives, in that they speak from the truth at all times without no repercussions. Not stating that some of the things that kids are doing is right, but they're in their youthful years and they love it. And if we give them room to grow and just teach them the good ways of life, they can grow up to be who they are with the moral beliefs that you instilled in them. Like I just learned at church, raise a child in the way you want them to go and they shall not depart from it. Me, myself, I wasn't raised with two parents. My parents died at a young age, so I have to always go back to certain values and think back way before I got older. Okay, what did they say about this? What did they say about that? But as I'm getting older, I didn't have parents to raise me. Right. Like my mom was into drugs. My dad was very sick, but we only spent 4 years with him before he passed away.
And my mom, she got very sick of kidney failures and diabetes, and ultimately passed away before I could even graduate anything. So it's like, it was very hard for me to raise myself because it takes a village to raise a child. So I started to look out for wrong relationships. I started to look at wrong connections inside of the world, and it wasn't leading me nowhere until I planted my feet and said, what is the correct way for me? I don't want to do it like no one else. I just want to do it like me.
Right.
And then I started to love on myself. I started to praise myself. I started to say affirmations upon my life, speak life inside of me. And once I started to do that, then I became so strong inside of myself. I was then able to start pointing out the strength inside of other people, because now I knew exactly what strength was. Now I knew what praise was. Now I knew what positive thinking was, positive communication, positive connection was.
Right.
I had to learn that at the older age, but as an adult, I truly wanted that as a child. So when I got to this point, I was already structured, but everything do happen in divine timing.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I tell all my friends that don't have kids. It's like, oh, I'm waiting till I'm ready. And it's like, no, you're never ready. You will never be ready. Not financially, not mentally, not spiritually. You will never be ready. They come into this world to test your life.
Exactly.
They're here for that sole
You
purpose.
know, they say every pregnancy different too. So how could you ever be ready for the same pregnancy if you're gonna have a different child?
Right. And you can think, all right, I'm gonna use my roadmap. I'm gonna lay out the steps to me raising my child, and you'll have that second child, and that roadmap will not work for that second child. You need a whole new strategy for that second child, and God forbid if you have more than 5. Now you need a textbook, your own textbook. So it's you kind of learn from what you are subject to growing up, and you see little things here and there, like, oh, I'm not gonna do that to my child when I get older. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna yell at them the way my mother yelled at them. And then somewhere down the road, you're yelling at them the same way because they're frustrating you in a way you never thought possible. So all your aces, they are things that need to be changed, but they're also things that you should hold proudly. They're your badges of honor. They're things that show what you've been through and what you should at least be able to see signs that you're doing it to somebody else.
Right. Superpowers, right?
Right.
Right.
So that's a good segue to something that I thought about when you had mentioned the yelling at your kids. Is have you actually, and this is for everybody, on the call, have you actually paid attention to the, I guess you could say, I think Clarence might be good.
Taking that acceptance, right? Taking that oath and trying, right? And like we're talking about, nobody gets it right. But I had a client actually break down the definition of perfection from like this biblical standpoint. And he's like, everybody thinks that perfection is without flaw. But if you look back to like traditional text, it talks about perfection as the effort in trying, right? And trying to get it right. The practice of it all. Right, and I think that's kind of where we're at, right?
Right.
We're going to always find something new to learn about, to try out, to look out for, to experience, because our minds do not stay stagnant. It always grows with the world. It grows with our environment. It grows with our interactions with people. So, like you said, within perfection, you have to have the ability to want to learn to get better. And even then, you still won't be, because there is no set image of what perfect is. Everyone is true inside of their own alignment, inside of their own being. So if we understand that, if we even take out the word perfection, we can look at the word growth. We're always looking to grow. We're always looking to elevate. We're always looking to outreach or outdo. Now, I wouldn't say, I mean, there is competition within the world. There's always competition because sometimes competition brings the best out of us. But, and even with competition, there's growth.
Right.
And have you ever seen a perfect orange? Have you ever seen a perfect person? Have you ever seen a perfect carrot? Have you ever seen, no, everything have different shapes and sizes. It could be, you can have a bunch of strawberries, but there's no strawberry in that one box that looks the same.
Yeah, but perfect is tricky because what's perfect to me may not be perfect to you.
Exactly, and that's perfectly perfect.
Right.
See, and that's part of it all, right? Because there's a great deal of acceptance, but kind of like what we're talking about with all of these intergenerational cycles, right? Like a lot of us have, well, all of us have the ability, right? We all have the innate resilience. But unfortunately, a lot of us are still so stuck in those patterns and those circumstances that we can't outgrow them, right, without acknowledging the fact that they exist. And so we have to kind of expose the abnormalcy of it all, right? And the detriment that it's kind of posing for us to kind of call an audible, right? And address it on the fly, because that's exactly what living is, right? But a lot of us don't have that chance until we get to a certain point that we get to look back at what was on the wall the whole time and see just how much we've modified for our own, like, takings. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hold on, baby.
Now, what you were saying, Caleb? I'm sorry, because I didn't have the phone there, so they couldn't.
They did, no problem. Basically, what I was asking, and I mean for TJ and CK, the same thing. Pretty much what I was saying was when Jason had brought up the aspect of have you ever yelled at your kids this past week? And something that I think is really important is that as children, we really don't have the tool set yet, the skills to be able to properly communicate exactly how we're feeling in that moment, but we know we're feeling something. And you may be familiar with like the book, The Body Keeps Score. But like, if you think about a lot of most trauma responses, people talk about fight or flight, and then of course there's freeze. But we always kind of, there's a fourth one there, and that's fawn. And when you think about that aspect of when he mentioned conditional love, it's crazy how on one side, just speaking out of my personal experience, there's, depending on how someone walks down the hallway, if I'm like laying down, my body will tense up because from how I grew up, typically, depending on how the feet are, there's going to be a beat behind that. Or when you're in an environment where you're used to people yelling all the time, as a child, perhaps it's that moment where you'll go inside so that way you can kind of
right inside your shell.
Correct. But then the issue is like, now you grow up and you don't even realize that your body is actually out of dysregulation. Like
muscle memory
of just you're present, but you're not even present because you disassociated so much as a child as just a coping mechanism, a trauma response, but that still lives in your body today. So you get into a situation, your boss is at work, they start yelling, your body automatically kind of goes into and some people like, oh, well, what you jumping for? And people start to make fun of you, but it's like, nah, where I came from, that means I was about to get hit. So it's a matter of like.
Brilliant, my brother. That was brilliantly put.
Yeah. So that's really important when we also talk about parenting, because there's still things that live within you that you remember. And it's like, if you know better, now it's like, how can I go about that? Are there more effective ways to communicate or discipline with my child versus yelling or going straight for, corporal punishment? Are there more effective ways of that? And I think that that's where the work we're doing is so important, because this is when we talk about the connection, it's about having these conversations and saying, we might all look different, but we kind of have shared experience in the fact of how people parented or how the lack of parents being there for TJ. It's like even not having a guardian sometimes can put you in a situation where other people parent you the way they think they're supposed to. And that in itself still causes detriment to a child.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Caleb. Also, when with the kids, when something's usually happening that you are emotionally dysregulated, 9 chances out of 10, it is a trigger that you were not allowed to act in that way, and that's why you're repeating the same patterns. Like if the kids is loud, your kid is loud and screaming, and then you start screaming because you probably weren't allowed to be loud or make a mess. Like if the kids make a mess and maybe your parents were really strict or really, rough on you when you were a kid, when you made a mess. And so there is a lot of difficulty sometimes, like as a parent, you don't even realize that you're repeating the same cycles because it's just, that's how we are. We are nature, creatures where we're learning out our experiences. And so that's where this work is so important because we have to reparent ourselves in the way that we want to change to reparent our kids. So that's the difficult part when you have kids. Like I told my friends, I'm like, be prepared for all your unresolved trauma to come out.
Right. And it's just like that saying, a child is a sponge. Well, it comes to a point in your life where you have to know how to wring yourself out from all of that stuff you soaked up.
And it's really hard because you're having to be present with your kids and you have to keep them alive. And then you're like, oh, wait, I got all this stuff that I need to be wringing out. But then you still are supposed to be functioning by meeting their needs and getting to know them as a person.
On top of that, life.
Right. I say that I know that so the unhealed us is different than the healed us, and that's where this work will come in. But one statement that I use for parents of all ages, including my elders, and this weekend, trying to reestablish relationships. Parents do the best we know how to do at that given moment. And they start to cry because we have to forgive ourselves too, as we heal, because if not, then we overcompensate and then we can create unhealthy codependencies even with our children. So the healing process is necessary, but to know and have some mercy and grace in the biblical sense, since we touched on that for ourselves as well. You know what I mean? That's important. So I just want to add that we all do the best we know how to do at the given time, and as we heal, all that interaction changes with everyone, even with ourselves.
Right. And remembering that about our parents too is hard. Like to remember, like they were doing the best they could. I was talking to some people the other day. I was in a red tent and I'm like, they didn't know what they were doing. They were doing the best they could. Even now they're doing the best they can. And that's why for me, it's hard. Like my family does not like me talking about this kind of stuff. They do not want me bringing any of this stuff up. They don't. They're like, it's in the past. Just let it go. Move on.
What was that? Say that one more time. I didn't have you by the speaker.
Oh, I just said my family does not like me talking or bringing this up.
Man.
Yeah, it is uncomfortable.
I heard you, Ruby.
That's what it is. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable, right? So everybody, just like we're talking about, we go back to that automatic functioning, right? That this is safe, this feels right, and even if it's detrimental.
Right, go right back to autopilot.
That is so true. To lynch on exactly what she just stated, not even parents, but siblings, even friends, when you experience detrimental circumstances with each other, a lot of people don't want to acknowledge the hurt and pain that probably was placed inside of the situation that ultimately probably hurted you and hurted them. And a lot of people is not comfortable with saying sorry, I apologize. A lot of people is not comfortable with speaking about painful situations. I myself went through something that should have took my mind away, but it didn't. I believe it was last year. I told my sister again that I was raped by her baby dad, and she automatically wanted to fight me, throwing juice on me, started trying to jump at me, come at me, all these crazy type of things. All these crazy type of situations that transpired, all because I felt okay with just coming out and just telling my story and say, hey, this did happen to me as a child. I know it did. I remember it. I sometimes I don't even want to think about it and even when people talk about race, it's like, again, it brings up that hurtful memory because it truly happened to me. And for her to disregard it and to gaslight my feelings,
Right.
it didn't hurt me because I knew I had grown at that moment. I knew that it was okay. I knew that it was no longer hurting me. I healed at that moment. I truly healed, but I wanted her to heal and to accept the fact it wasn't you that hurt me. It was the person that you was connected to. So you're getting angry at me for something that happened in my past. That goes to show that you felt some type of guilt inside of you that you needed to release and say, it's okay. My sister's not getting hurt anymore. I wanted that type of reaction instead of, I'm sorry. I wanted the acknowledgement that it happened, but it's no longer happening and we can move on and heal together. But everyone heals at their own different levels and at their own pace. I couldn't place expectations upon her mind where her mind was trying to go. And when you place expectations upon situations and people, that's how disappointment come about, because we're thinking of one way and how it should go, when in reality, that person may not be in alignment to your mental health or your mental stability. So they may need a little more timing. And because they do not respond to how we want to think they respond, we ended up getting disappointed.
Right.
And to ask, was I disappointed in that moment? I was disappointed in that moment because I'm younger than her and she's older. She's like 10, 15, almost 20 years older than me.
She's somebody you looked to protect you, and in that moment, she didn't do what you thought her job was supposed to do.
Exactly, because I placed that expectation over her, and I should have never placed that expectation over her, because age do not make us grown. Age do not make us wise. It's the experience and the growth and the willingness to grow from each experience that makes us who we are and unique, and stand up and say, I got this, or stand up with boldness and stewardness and say, it's okay.
Right.
I healed, and she wasn't even though she's older than me by age, her mentality was not there yet. Her spirit was not there yet. And also in that moment, I realized that, which is why I took a step back and I was like, I should have never told you because you wasn't ready, even though I already healed from that tragic incident. And I already placed forgiveness. Forgiveness is another situation that we all have to go through. And because I placed forgiveness over it, that doesn't mean she did.
Right.
And instead of trying to force it on her with that expectation, I just sat back and I said, it's okay. It will all happen in divine timing. We're going to all heal in our divine timing, and we're going to all be okay regardless. We're going to all be okay. And since then, she hasn't spoke to me.
Jason.
It's not funny, but she haven't spoken to me since then. But that's because, honestly, I don't want her to speak to me until she healed from that moment, because every time she speaks to me, it brings up that moment again, and she haven't healed from it, and then anger overflows it, and then hostility, and then now she want to go again to fight again. I'm like, okay, we're not going to speak until you're ready. And I am okay with that, because like I said, if he took it away for a reason, he can always bring back for a tremendous and glorious reason. So whenever that time is, I will then accept her into my presence to say we can now talk about it and move on and even let it go and be human beings.
Hey TJ, this is Caleb. I heard everything. I wanted to piggyback off of that, and one of the things I want to kind of remind you of is the fact that when, especially the fact that you mentioned that your sister was even older than you are in that regard, when you think about just run the clock back generationally, there's a lot of appearance culture. It's a lot of happens in the house stays in the house. It's a lot of, we don't talk about that. And one of the things that you got to keep in mind is the more we don't speak our truth, the more we betray ourselves, the greater and greater our body grows in dysregulation. So when you think about the experience that you had with your sister, a lot of times it's verbal, but I feel like when you're talking to somebody and you go to perhaps address the conversation or try to do the thing, because notice you were able to forgive, but what you got back from her actually is a buildup of resentment and anger and frustration over years and years and years of compounding dysregulation. As she's been denying her truth, she's been denying her, essentially her own wants, because who knows if she's even happy if with that man. It's a matter of like, sometimes people end up in that situation where it's like, if you ever heard the story about the dog sitting on the thorn, and it's like he's yelping and yelping and yelping, but he's not moving. And the man's like, well, why, why, if he's in pain, why is he moving? And it's like, it doesn't hurt bad enough. Sometimes we get stuck in the devil we know versus the devil we don't. But that betrayal over a period of time, it causes us to grow in resentment and bitterness where we can't even hear somebody else because we're not in a place to receive the message that they're trying to share with us. So I definitely would say, like, for your sister, that's a journey that she's going through. It has nothing to do with you personally, because it's just a matter of like, she has not yet come to terms with the
I do that at that moment. I was like, okay, what she's going through, this is not on me. It was something deeper inside of her that she was battling. And I as a grown adult in that moment, I was 24 when this happened. I'm now 26 when this happened. And now I'm 28. And that
Jason, are you muted?
I want them to, because that's ultimately not my path. That's not where I was going on. So it's like, I want that for you, but I can't force it. I am not your healer. I can teach you ways. I can guide you. I can give you wisdom. But ultimately, she wasn't into the mind of rejecting what I was trying to tell her. And I was just trying to tell her that I was raped. I was trying to tell her that I was healed from that situation, that I forgave that situation, and I have moved past it because now I'm older. That happened when I was like 5, 6, 7. Now I'm 28. It's not hurting me no more. I moved past it. I've grown from that situation. Yes, I want that. I want the same for her, but it's only in her mind that she will accept it and when she wants to move on. Has she moved on? I don't think so. I truly don't think so. But I still have faith that she's able to still receive healing. When we all wake up and take a deep breath and we're able to breathe, we still have time. We still have grace. We still have mercy to get right back in the path of healing, forgiveness, loving, peace, tranquility, togetherness. We all still have that opportunity. It's just we have to have a mind and the ability to want to accept those things and want to let go and forgive all that. It's not simultaneously, but it's a process.
Right. And I don't mean to cut you off, TJ. We are a little bit pressed for time, so I want to move on real fast to the Reacher Residency brochure. Let's add this to the screen real quick. Caleb, you want to take the lead on this one?
Reading it?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Let me see. I never did. Okay. Yeah. Let's see if we can get it. Can you see this like this, or should I put it differently?
I think I can. It's the overlay, but I'll pull it up.
Let me put it like this better. I can always take the overlay off, but let me think maybe you can see it better this way.
Yes. Okay. So how to talk about ACEs matters. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And that's a quote by Frederick Douglass. And just an aside, I actually really love Frederick Douglass as a hero. Our mission is to start the conversation about adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, in communities that have never heard of them. Our strategy is to rapidly disseminate our findings through the voices of lived experience storytellers. Our vision is to contribute to the reduction of generational childhood adversities while increasing positive childhood experiences. Our goal is to train, support, and deploy 250 trauma-informed storytellers and reach 1 million new people by 2030. And lastly, recreate products and services for people who are committed to doing everything necessary to heal from their childhood adversities and improve their overall quality of life. So for this part, I'm pretty certain a lot of it is just kind of us reviewing it, but then also if there's anything that stands out about it for us discussing it.
Right.
So I would say for that first part, at least for me, one of the main things that really stood out was it's not just about bringing the awareness to ACEs, but it's also the fact of being able to also increase positive childhood experiences. So, it's very much a solutions-based effort of what we're doing, because it's not just bringing awareness, but it's also like, what are the next steps? What are the action plans?
Right. It's more like each one teach one.
Yes.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay. And then you want me to keep going?
Yeah, you could keep going.
Okay, so Reacher is a noun and acronym that describes a person who is willing to reach out to others in order to help them realize emotions and challenges, help encourage resilience. Reachers are reliable messengers who bring awareness to the results of adverse childhood experience study through their own personal stories. As micro-influencers, Reachers raise the volume on the conversation of childhood adversity through their own lived experiences. Reachers are qualified to bring awareness to this cause because of their lived experiences, community influence, and facilitator certification. Reachers take part in an 11-month residency that educates them on the causes, consequences, and cures, or CQ, for overcoming childhood adversities. Reachers are given structured support to spread the word about the adverse childhood experience study in communities where they live, work, and serve. Reachers are 1099 contractors that are linked to the brand of ACEs Matters. Similar to teachers, Reachers have the capacity to leave an imprint on their communities, both online and within neighborhoods. Thriver, one who has a knack for pulling through adversity. To experience childhood adversity and thrive through the rough seasons of your adulthood life is an inheritance from your creator. In other words, you were given the breath of life to face another day despite the efforts of those who tried to eliminate your spirit. Emotion is energy in motion. Abuse does not allow energy to flow. Child abuse forces a child to take it. So then there's a quote, ending generational childhood adversities would heal the planet and its people. If ACEs can be predicted, ACEs can be prevented.
All right. I think after this page, we should be okay.
Okay. So let's see.
Let me take the.
Kind of in the.
I got you. Bow.
There you go. So this is the Reacher Residency overview. The world needs more positive influencers behind the microphone. The ACEs Matter Residency is a facilitator preparation program available to a select group of, the words are similar. I'm trying to see, I guess it's similar. Micro-influencers who have a passion to address social issues that impact communities of color and beyond. Reachers are typically lived experience survivors who want to make a difference in the lives of adults and youth in their online and physical communities. Each residency starts with a cohort of 12 to 16 adult learners from around the country who may also be business entrepreneurs. This 11-month residency program and 1-year speaking commitment is for lived experience survivors that want training to become fluent in the causes and consequences of adverse childhood experiences. The residency offers additional benefits that are not commonly found in traditional facilitator certification programs. The Reachers are provided ongoing spiritual, personal, and professional development through their first 2 years as an active Reacher. ACES Matters is able to accomplish this by giving Reachers access to subject matter experts, certified coaches, and other community partners. Reachers are given structured support to spread the word about the adverse childhood experience ACEs study in communities where they live, work, and serve. All courses and interactions are designed so that participants learn to recognize the presence of ACEs in themselves, their community, and the entertainment industry. The monthly courses are taught by experts from various industries that have a connection with childhood adversities, personal growth, and healing. Reachers devote 50% of the time learning the science and building connection with others in the cohort, and the other 50% of the time sharing what they've learned with their social and local communities. And then I think that part is behind us.
Ooh, sorry about that.
There you go. Reachers will actively engage with videos, podcasts, and movies, surveys, focus discussions, case studies, research and statistics, current events analysis, historical text, and research-backed tools for self-exploration and discovery.
All right. I think we can all agree, and Cindy would probably agree, that us here in the Yellow Team, we know what we were reading for this pamphlet. We know exactly what we're getting out of it. So with the last 10 minutes that we got here, I want to go around because the whole point of this meeting was for us to get to know each other. So let's go around, and why don't you guys tell us 5 things about yourself, not including your favorite movie, your favorite color, your favorite music genre, and your favorite leisure activity.
So you said not those?
Not those, because those are our questions that you should answer at the end after giving us your 5 things about yourself.
It'd be a minute.
You're muted.
Y'all can hear me? Okay. I'm a single mom, mother to one son. Oh.
Yeah, we got this. It's more like 12 minutes, but we got this.
Yeah, because I'm going now. He can. Oh,
Yep.
you ain't on me. Okay. I'm a single mom. I just joined FRRC. Re-entering individuals. Also working with incredible messengers. Something else about me, intergenerational programming for the youth and the elderly. And I like emotional work and team building.
All right. What's your favorite movie, favorite color, favorite leisure activity?
Favorite movie, Lean on Me. Favorite color, purple. Reading. I love reading and meditating.
All right. Thank you. CK, why don't you give it to us? I know you guys are on the phone. It's kind of difficult. Can you hear me, CK? TJ?
Yeah, my bad. I'm over here making lunch.
Okay, no worries. I got you.
5 things. Let's see. My first and only musical love is the violin. I am a Division I college All-American. I was a professional athlete.
For what sport?
Football. I am in the College Hall of Fame, but not for football, but for art. And the last one is this little pain in my side that's running around causing havoc right now. Keon Justice is my second born child.
Okay. Favorite movie, favorite color, favorite leisure activity?
Favorite movie? Between 8 Crazy Nights with Adam Sandler and the movie Foolish with Eddie Griffin and Master P. And favorite color is either black, red, or clear. Don't pass judgment.
Gotcha.
And what was the last one?
What was the last one? Favorite leisure activity?
Favorite leisure activity is hiking. Love to get out here in these mountains. CO.
Okay. Got you. TJ, you there?
Yes, I am.
You want to tell us 5 things about yourself?
5 things about myself is I'm currently in school to receive my bachelor's in business management, my BAS. I have already received my AS in criminal justice and my tech certificate for law enforcement and corrections specialist. I'm currently a data analyst for FEMA working. I love to volunteer and give back all the time. I sow my seeds inside of other nonprofits, and as much as possible, go ahead and intern and work with other nonprofits to gain experience and to gain partnerships. I study a lot. I write a lot. I love school. Education is number 1 within my life. And my last thing is I'm very joyful and happy all the time and very cheerful. So those are literally, education is just all around number 1 for me.
Okay. And your favorite movie, your favorite color, and favorite leisure activity?
My favorite movie is The Lion King in 1994. My favorite colors are blue, white, and gold, and olive green. And my favorite thing to do is go to church and attend church activities.
All right. Thank you. Miss Ruby.
Oh, hi. Let's see, 5 things about me. I have 2 children. I am currently in the process of a divorce, which is not my favorite thing, but that's what we're doing right now.
Through it, girl. You're gonna get through it.
I know. It'll be for the best. It's just, it's a lot of feelings. I'm having a lot of feelings.
You're human.
I know, but I have always been a very, very feeling oriented person, which is part of like connecting with that again, and so I like plants and herbalism and things like that. I've studied some of that, which is fun. My job right now, I work with Public Allies, which is nonprofit expansion, working temporarily with them. And then my other career field is working with young adults and adults with disabilities, trying to help them and connect them to the community. And a lot of my time I spent reading a lot of parenting books and reading a lot of development books for myself, because a lot of my current situation, my trauma I'm going through is with my husband, and I know that I've experiencing that trauma because of my ACEs allowed me to be a prime subject. I don't know if that makes any sense, but and then so that's, I don't know, I didn't really quantify that, but okay. So my favorite movie is Amelie, and my favorite color is turquoise, and I like to get out into nature and kayak and take my kids camping and that for fun.
All right. Caleb.
All right. There's been a lot of cool things y'all done said. So, if anything, shout out to the 94s, because I'm a 94 baby, so Lion King, but that's not my favorite movie. And then, Ruby said her favorite color was turquoise. I'm kind of in there. Mine's like that aqua teal, but let's see. I could count that as 2. Was born in New York, Manhattan. I'm half Jamaican. Found that out. I like how it's kind of being put on the spot. So even though I really am a technical person when it comes to computers, what I found out is that it's something I'd much rather do for fun. I can geek squads for you guys personally all day, but I don't necessarily want to become one of those people in the trenches or a code monkey or anything like that. I just don't care. Like other people can do that. I'll continue to dabble for fun. I am somebody who considers myself a lifelong learner. I believe that life is people school. The more I learn about all of you, the more I learn about myself. So I will forever be learning until I pass away. Did I get 5 yet?
Not sure, but that was good. Why don't you hit us with your favorite movie, your favorite color, and your leisure activity?
Okay, so we got the favorite color, and then I'll throw in gold as well. So that kind of like goldenrod color. It's between those 2. Favorite movie, it's interesting. So Scott Pilgrim on the live action side, Howl's Moving Castle on the animated side.
Okay.
And then what was the last one? Favorite leisure activity. Lately, I would say I've really been into walking. For me, it's almost spiritual, kind of like a walking meditation as I'm going around. I take in all the leaves and the sun and the wind, and I'm just like, I'm allowing myself to feel. And I think that in itself is something that's just very calming for me right now.
All right. Thank you. I guess that leaves me left. 5 things about myself. I am a huge wrestling fan. I'm a huge Marvel fan. I'm an avid Marvel Legends collector. Certain ones, because I don't want to go bankrupt. I love movies. Movies are my thing, it brings me to my leisure activity. I love spending time watching movies with my kids and my wife. I love watching movies with them. I could stay there all day watching movies with them. My favorite color is black. My favorite movie is complicated because I love movies, so I always have a new favorite, but I would have to say I'm always at a crossroads between adulthood and childhood, so I'm going to be at the crossroads with my favorite movie between The Goonies and The Godfather. So in a nutshell, that is us. We are your Reacher Residency Program Team Yellow. We hope to come live again on maybe Sundays, maybe whatever day you guys have available, and do this again. This was great. I enjoyed my time with you guys, and it was very, very insightful.
Squad, this was dope. Let's do it every Sunday. I'll be moving to my new place tomorrow.
Sounds good to me.
Well, hold on. Every Sunday, y'all say every Sunday? Hold on, y'all. I gotta say something. Hold on.
Congratulations on the new move in your new space.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Now they can hear you. Shaquila, what you said? You said you got to say something about every Sunday?
Oh yeah. I can't do every Sunday. I only do one Sunday out of the month for me, y'all. But I love
that sounds
y'all.
good.
I enjoyed it.
That sounds good to me too. One Sunday. Okay. But again, I want to thank you all for joining me here. This should complete all of our tasks as a team in one fell swoop. So thank you again. Thank you for the few that tuned in. And I don't know if I will be putting this on Spotify or not, but if I do, I'll definitely let you guys know where you can listen to it. Thanks again. And don't let your aces control you. You are not your scars. Right? Heal up. Learn. Join us. Go to acesmatter.org. Support. We're looking for donations. Have a great night.
Have a good night.